I made this, the Hazbin Hotel in full scale. Yes, I made the complete Hazbin Hotel from the show Hazbin Hotel in Minecraft in full scale and with every single detail. And if you're wondering how I made this, well, let me show you. So this build is from a show called Hazbin Hotel, which is made by an actual YouTuber named 50pops, and she makes really cool animations, and she has some shows as well, some different shows, and one of them is called Hazbin Hotel. And that's where this build is coming from. And because nobody has ever made it in Minecraft, I thought, why wouldn't I recreate it myself? But sadly, it seems that I'm not the first one making it in Minecraft. Well, shit. It's fine. I will just make it even better. Let's begin. So for this build, I think I will actually make it in an actual world instead of a flat world. I think it looks way better if we can actually find some kind of hillside, because the actual hotel is made on a hill. So I'm going to fly around and see if I can find a spot that looks pretty nice and actually a bit like the show itself, and find a little bit of a hill. These are way too big, so I will try to find a nice hill that kinda feels like we can terraform it and change it into the landscape of the actual series. So I thought maybe the Nether would be a great place, because this looks very much like hell. But I think it's a bit too dark and too red. So yeah, it won't really look that great if I make the hotel over here. So I think we will make it in the overworld. So after a while searching, I found out that the actual hotel is not built on a hill, or it's actually some kind of hill. So what I did is I found this place. It's a bit flat, yeah, and I changed it up for the gray terracotta. This is not gray. Anyway, I also found out that the hotel has actually two types of designs. So this is the first design. I just searched on Google, and this is the very first design that they used in their like pilot episode, which they made like 2 or 3 years ago, something like that, or maybe even 4 years ago. And as you can see, there's a really big ship on the side of the building, and it has a little bit of a different design. So if we go to the much newer design, which is this one, you can clearly see that there are some difference to the building. For example, the entrance is different. The ship is now just normal like this and not sideways against the building. The tower is a little bit different. And this big balloon is basically from a bad guy that I'm not going to create, because it's basically a vehicle that's parked there. So it's not really part of the whole hotel. And some signs and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different than their pilot episode. And we are going to make the official one, which is this one. Anyway, I think it's time that I start building this hotel. And I think what we have to do first is to just make the basic shape. So we will do the under part, the top part, basically the whole hotel without any really big designs or details, stuff like that. So the ship maybe will come later, those kind of stuff will come later, but first let's just make the hotel. So yeah, I think I will do it in a form of a time lapse, so enjoy the build. So I made the entrance. So I said that I would make the whole like shape of the building, at least like the basic shape of it. But as you can see, I just started with the entrance, and I kind of went into detail a little bit more than I actually thought. Basically, this whole entrance will basically shape up the whole hotel. And the reason why I say this is because I kind of wanted to make it in scale, as in it should not be too big, because of course we are just 2 blocks high, and I didn't want the doors to be like huge. So compared to me, the doors are actually pretty normal. And this build is going to be massive. This is actually going to be incredibly big. I really have to extend the base plate. I really thought it would fit on here, but no, absolutely not. It's going to be way bigger than I thought. But anyway, let's check it out. So I made the entrance, and the entrance is by far the most complicated part of the whole building. Why? Because of these weird rounded shapes. So I started up with the doors, and the doors are actually pretty important because the shape of the doors and the size of the doors will basically tell how big this whole building will be. Because if I would make the whole building, then it could be that these doors are way too big or way too small. So I started with the doors, and I gave them this really cool effect because in the series, and I have a little picture that I can show. So if you look at this picture right here, as you can see in the series, every glass part, every window glows basically. And I wanted that in the doors as well. So we have this entrance, and this is a really weird shape because it has an hexagonal shape. As you can see, it has a few corners. That's pretty weird because the roof itself is a dome shape. And the dome shape, of course, is not the shape of a hexagon. So in this illustration of the actual show, it is connected, which is really weird. So it basically is, this part over here is impossible. So from the whole building, this building is by far, of this part of the building is by far the most interesting building, or interesting part with the most detail. Apart from the ship maybe, and the carousel, or whatever you want to call this thing. So yeah. Everything else is pretty straightforward and pretty straight lines and pretty simple, but this was by far the hardest part. And as you can see, everything glows, and that's something that's pretty hard to do in Minecraft. So if we go back to the game, I wanted to make it actually glow. And because I have a nice shader pack, that will give it a really cool effect. And in normal Minecraft, it will maybe look a little bit less great, but first of all, let's make it night. So I made it night, and as you can see, it nicely glows. So not only this glows, but also beneath here should glow, which it does. Of course, we have this big sign. We have this sign, which is pretty hard to create with the limited blocks that I have. And of course, with all the other glass parts and windows that we have, they should also glow. And it's pretty hard to do because I really want to, of course, hide all these light sources. And you really have to be on a really weird angle to see the actual light sources, like over here. But for the most of it, you won't really notice it or actually be able to see it. So it's a really cool trick. And the way that I did this is with a lot of layers. So we have the first layer, which is the outer detail. Then we have the second layer, which is the main wall. Then we have a third layer with a lot of detail as well. And then we have a fourth layer, and that's actually the white background. And around that is the light source. So if we go to the back of the building, then you can see it a little bit better. As you can see, it looks absolutely ugly. It looks terrible from the back and absolutely not like how it should look on the inside. But so these are all the layers stacked against each other to create that lighting effect. And that counts for these windows up here as well. We have a few little holes that we have to patch, but other than that, it looks absolutely amazing. And I'm very happy with how it turned out for the beginning part. So yeah, I think I did get close to the actual design. If we go look at the design over here. So I basically did this whole part, and now we are actually going to do this bottom part over here. Maybe this top part as well. I will see how far I will get. And yeah, this is much more straightforward. And I think we should continue on making the building. And basically the first two layers, which are very conveniently shown by these two lines in the air. So I think we should continue with that, and then we will see what we are going to do with the full tower, and hopefully we won't hit the build limit. So anyway, let's continue building.
From the top, let's go! One, two.
second layer is in. And I also started with laying out the foundation for the third layer and actually the huge tower. So this was actually harder than I thought. And honestly, this build is way bigger than I thought. The problem is with the show is that you cannot really see all the details of every single side of the hotel. So the problem that I ran into is that I had no idea how deep the building would be and what kind of things would be on this side of the building and also on the other side. So the other side is pretty easy because there will be a huge ship being over here sticking out, but on this side there isn't. Also, we get into the problem with this dome, and there are some clips, and I will show it if I am able to, of this dome, where you can clearly see that the dome is drawn all the way to this edge, which is basically impossible, but of course, because it is an animation show, you can do whatever you want. But in Minecraft, there are sadly some limits to what I can do. But anyway, I have created the second layer and it looks absolutely amazing. I really like the design. I played with the design over here a little bit to see which one would look the best, and I settled on this thing, on this like design over here. Also, I did try to make the sides. They are not really that special, so I didn't show them in the time lapse. But there is one little clip, like a really small little frame, where you can actually see the side of this building. And the side is basically just this. There's not really anything going on. And the second layer has some windows that are blacked out, basically. They don't have any light source. So I just made this, and it looks like there's a window, but there is really nothing behind it. And yeah, it has a really weird structure. And on this side, as you can see, this part is completely open. And this bottom part, we never ever see this part in the show. So I have no idea what this looks like. But I assume that it is also just closed off like the sides. So, and for this layer, the same story. We don't know what's going on this layer. So I will just come up with something on my own and see what will actually fit. But yeah, for now, it looks absolutely amazing. It looks great. So let's see what it looks like at night. And there you go. It looks absolutely... I really like this window. So I had a lot of trouble making these. But yeah, I think they turned out well. And with all the lighting effect and everything, it really looks like they are glowing. And it looks absolutely amazing. So from a distance, this looks absolutely awesome. So what I did is I did already like figure out where the four corners will be of the next layer, and the next layer will basically be almost as big as the whole tower. The tower will be a little bit smaller. So yeah, we are going to work on the third layer. Third layer has the most detail in my opinion, as in with all the borders and like framing and stuff like that. And then we are slowly building up, and the rest is pretty easy because there are all the same windows and basically just the same level stacked on top of each other. So that will be a lot easier. These two parts or three parts actually, the tower itself, or this dome, and these two layers, these were the hardest, and I think the rest of the building will be a little easier. But of course we still have to do a ship that should be sticking out here, and there are like little damaged part of the building. For example, there should be a corner off over there, and there should be an anchor somewhere stuck in here in this roof. But that will come later when we have finished the whole building. But for now, we are going to work on the tower. It will be a huge take on, a huge building that I have to create. I'm building for hours already. Like, this building is way bigger than I thought. But anyway, we have to continue. And I think I will not show everything in a time lapse. So I think for the next layer, I will just do a little jump cut, and all of a sudden the layer is there. So for example, like this. Magic. So yeah, I created the third layer, and it was honestly pretty hard. It was actually harder than I thought because of the actual building itself. So this dome is not really a dome in the actual illustration. So that makes it very hard to make the next layer kinda in proportion. I think I did it. And yeah, this was a pretty hard layer because there are a lot of detail blocks, and the sad thing is that we don't really have a lot of purple blocks that are very detailed blocks like stairs or slabs or something like that. So we only have this block, which is perfect, the blue terracotta, but yeah, that's the only block that it's basically just a block. There is no slab of it, there is no stair, there's nothing remotely close because these are more pinkish, I guess, and they get much more closer to the crimson wood. But yeah, it worked out and it looks great. So from a distance, the kind of the shape and everything and the layout and the dimensions and something like that are kind of the same as the illustration. So this is the closest I could get. And yeah, I actually did everything. So I did the sides, all these windows, and we can actually see in one of the clips of the show, we can see this layer. We can actually see these windows. So the first two layers you can really not see. You cannot see what's happening over here. So I just completely winged this part. I had no idea what to place here. So I just made this because you really never see it. So, but actually this is something you actually see. So that's why I made this back, and it actually looks like this with a lot of windows, just a row of windows and these box shapes. And yeah, so that's basically the whole building. At least it's completely closed off on all sides. And I already did try to figure out the layer of the actual tower. And yeah, this is going to be the biggest part, which will be a time lapse, because I think that part will be pretty cool to see how this tower is going to evolve upwards. So yeah, that will be cool. So you're probably wondering, well, are you going to make the interior? And the answer is probably not. Maybe for the next video, because this build is already incredibly big. We have placed almost 5,000 or 4,500 of the blue terracotta, almost 3,000 of the stripped crimson, and just a lot of other blocks. And I think together is about like 7 or 8, almost 10,000 blocks. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's actually 10,000. I think we went over 10,000 blocks just for this building. So yeah, I'm not going to do the interior in this episode. Maybe in the next episode if this video actually does well. Also, I should mention, if there are people watching this video and have no idea what this building is about, it's actually from a show called Hazbin Hotel. You can find it on Amazon Prime. Yeah, I saw this popping up. Everybody was really hyped about it. And I saw this building and I thought, you know, let's just recreate it in Minecraft. So yeah, if you're interested in what this building is actually from, then it is Hazbin Hotel from 50 Pops. And yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. So it's pretty cool. So go check it out. So enough talking, I think we should continue with the building. And this will be the part that makes it look like 200 times better, the whole tower. So I cannot wait to start with this tower part, and it's going to look amazing. And we are going to do it in a nice little time lapse. So enjoy the jazzy music and let's crack on with this tower, shall we? It is done. So I just made the Hazbin Hotel in complete detail, and I thought why not making the interior as well. So you know, I thought why not make Charlie's room.
Don't let your kids watch it!
Yeah, let's not do the interior, I think. I'm just going to be honest, I made this whole building just for that joke. No, I didn't do the interior, that would be way too much work. Maybe I will do that in a future video, I don't know. Depending if this video does well. Anyways, it looks absolutely amazing. So let's just check it out one final time in all the details. So it is absolutely massive. It's such a huge build. So if you stand over here, you just see how huge this build is. And I absolutely love it. I love all the details. It was an insane amount of work, especially with all these glass and windows and everything. And I wanted everything to look really well and really cool in the night time, which I will show you in a minute. But yeah, this was a lot of detail work, and just to make this all happen, it was a lot of work, but it looks absolutely amazing. And it is actually completely true to the actual show. I tried to make it as good as possible, as close as possible to the actual show. So I used a lot of references. I used absolutely a lot of references. I've seen the show now, I think for the 20th time or something like that, just to get all the little clips of this building and to make this as perfect as absolutely possible. And it turned out like this, and it is absolutely amazing. So we have this ship on the side, which is in the right spot, with some dirt and like rubbish around it. And we have this anchor that's over here, and well, actually the whole ship is like, it is a complete ship. I did some shading on the sails. Actually the sails should be just one color, but to make it a little bit more true to the actual image, I try to shade them, and that looks a little bit better. And yeah, this just looks absolutely amazing. So the only things that I didn't really finish were like this train track, which is absolutely not possible. So I just placed some blocks and I just stopped it over here. But normally the train track should go all the way around to the other side, and I just didn't want to spend the time to do all that because it was so much work. But yeah, so that's the only thing that I really didn't do. But everything else should be like it should be in the show. And from what I could see, I recreated everything as perfect as possible. Only a part of the roof is not done yet. Like there should be some stairs over here and some like roof lights, or like these glass panels on the roof, and some machinery and stuff like that. And I will make that for the world download. So if you watch this video and you want to check this building for yourself, there is a world download down in the description, and it will have all the details as well on the roof. But for this video, to get this video out as fast as possible, I haven't done this yet. So we have this nice detail in the back. We have the huge sign saying Hazbin Hotel with all the end rods, which look very good. The eye, which looks very awesome from the front. If you're from the watching from down there, it looks a bit weird, but from up here it looks absolutely amazing. These arrows were a pain to make because they are on a really weird angle, but they look absolutely cool. And this thing was also such a hard thing to make. But yeah, it turned out really well. I really like it. And as I said, at night it looks even better because of the shaders. So let's look at the building when it is nighttime. Look at this. This looks absolutely awesome. I am so glad how this turned out with all the lighting. It is just absolutely amazing. I'm so happy how this turned out. It's my own build, of course, but still, I'm so proud of how this ended up with all these like little lights on every arrow. This part over here, which is this weird carousel thing that's on its side, which was very hard to make. But, well, it looks like a carousel. You can actually kind of imagine what it is. So, yeah, that's very cool. And the ship looks absolutely awesome with the lighting and everything. And just, yeah, it is absolutely perfect. I don't think you can make it any better than this. It takes an ages to just fly up. But look at this. The red light and everything that's actually in the tower, that looks absolutely amazing. And all the light is just it's so good. I'm so happy how this turned out. I really tried my best to give this diffusive light in every window. And it really worked out. So yeah, I'm very happy how it turned out. I'm really happy how this turned out. So yeah, like I said, this build is downloadable. There is a world download in the description. So yeah, if you want to check it out for yourself, you can. And also consider to subscribe because it helps me out a lot. And maybe if you all subscribe, I will do the interior. So let me know if you want to see the interior of this building. And you know what? Let's just hope that this series, the Hazbin Hotel, will never change its design ever again. Son of a...